Scaife got around his teammate. So Todd Kelly has gone from pole to third. He'll have to fight off Winterbottom as the dust flies.
One of the Jim Beam cars in trouble, and so is Jack Perkins. Rotates out into the dirt and rubbish here. He might get it out the other side, and that'll spare us a safety car. He does.
Hit the brakes a few times, try and get that dirt out of the road.
Here it is again in replay. Watch for the Jim Beam car to come spinning out of the pack. He almost went to the infield. Meantime, on the outside of the road, Jack Perkins rotates. A good save by Jack. Drags, unfortunately, a big pile of dirt on.
So Tander has the lead. Scaife is second. Todd Kelly.
Oh, look at this. Tander's gone straight ahead down there at turn 3.
Something in the left front just failed.
Come on, if you can see that. Just do the best you can. It looks like it's broken the steering or something.
Component failure for Garth Tander.
Do a massive amount of curb hopping here, which is real hard on the gear. And I wonder whether something's failed as a result. Scaife sails by. Kelly runs with him. Tander's on the outside of...
And the two FPR teammates, Winterbottom and Richards, have a little bit of a gap on Murphy. This will be the incident. Oh, there's a three-way crunch.
That's ridiculous. Now I know why Jason Bright was howling on the radio. That's...
Steve Panto in the middle of it.
There's some stupidity out there. I mean, it's not hard to work out that you'll have a nose-to-tail shunt down at turn 3 on a restart.
Now, Bright has also ended up, I'm pretty sure, having contact with the rear of Craig Lowndes' car.
Mark managed to recover there. Look at the dirt and water, rubbish all over the road, mud, people getting into each other, and around goes Rick Kelly. Kelly tagged sideways, 3 into 2 doesn't go. Alan Gurr around the outside.
Look at the spray. Will Davison slipping and sliding everywhere.
The cold tyres, water on the road. Around goes Mark Winterbottom in front of the field. Manages to rotate and pick it up again. Good save.
Fabian Coulthard also went off just behind him in the Team Cirame car.
He's going to have to come through the lane. Look at this, Stephen Richards, Todd Kelly. It's a bit willing here, woof.
You're on board with Rick
Rick
Kelly. So that's what happened to Rick Kelly at turn 1. You'll watch the car behind the Team Vodafone car. So Stephen Richards gets hold of Whincup, who then gets hold of Kelly.
Yeah.
And the Richards incident was forced.
Someone else has gone round there. I think that's Rick Kelly, yes.
Oh, it's not hard. It's not easy to grab reverse, but what a dicey situation at the top of the hill. So he dropped a few spots from his qualifying. Now he's going to find traffic in the form of John Bauer, Mark Scaife and Stephen Johnson. Canto's gone, Scaife's gone as well.
You can see that coming. They're all skating down there into one, and Scaife was crossed up. Oof. People going across the bow of the car. Oh. Turn 2, an incident here. Scaife trying to pull up, not whack the back of John Bauer, but in doing so, locks the rear brakes, tags Dean Canto. Round they go. This was the previous lap.
Canto was on cold tyres at that stage. He'd just come out after completing his pit stop. Look at Scaife trying to hold it. They both ended up losing it.
Well, Matty, you're spot on there with Mark Scaife. Just spoke to Rob Starr, the team manager there for Holden Racing Team. He said Scaife's car's got real problems. They just can't get it sorted out at the moment. Mark's got his hands full.
Now, Rick Kelly had that spin. We saw him parked at the top of the rise on turn 11. This is what happened. Whoa!
I think he might have got a touch there from Paul Morris, but I'm not 100% certain of my facts there. There it is from the other angle. They're certainly very close down there in the final corner.
On the road, he's 9th. Here's an incident for Holsworth.
Remember, he just went out with the new rear tyres that were cold, so he slipped off the road before they've come up to temp.
Neil, you talked about the broken steering. You're right on the money. They had some contact with Jason Richards battling for position. Broken steering is the call.
Battling for position. And from his teammate's car, we should get a view of it. Jason Richards goes the inside line, whack!
That effectively puts him in the lead of the race.
It's a tough little manoeuvre, isn't it? Especially when you've got no steering. Now let's take a look at this Whincup situation again. That's Jason Richards on your right. He'll make contact with the front right.
Well, it was actually Jason's left rear.
Here's Stephen Johnson and Steve Owen. Oh, at the end of turn 1. Does he get it back on? Can he get it back on? He does.
What's the replay reveal for us here?
That was just Paul Dumbrell earlier. Oh, he got a bit of a tap from one of the toll cars. That thing has been a real handful for Paul Dumbrell. I saw it on one of the wider shots before. Jason Richards just posted the fastest time, 1:19. A contact here between Dumbrell and Stephen Richards. They're still squeezing. Dumbrell caught on the outside. Tander goes through. And Fabian Coulthard from the team Siramate. Oh, him and Dumbrell also got a little sideways. Over the bridge, James Courtney's in there. Dumbrell is copping it left and right.
Another little issue down here at turn 3, and this is McConville and Murph. A little tap there. A lot of drivers complaining about the grip disappearing fast as the road gets wetter and therefore the tyres cool out more, the temperature's dropping. Some people like, for example, Craig Lowndes. It went on, didn't it? And on and on. And this time Murph ends up out in the potato patch. And Lowndes is going to seek more drive in the car at his stop.
So Lee Holdsworth from lap 1 has been doing it unchallenged. Aside from traffic, crunch. Jones on Murphy.
Just to go back and add a little bit more information to that pit stop thing, replay here of what happened, and all pretty straightforward. Andrew off the worst for wear out of that one. There's water on the floor, it's all brown. When you put your foot on the brake pedal, a brown wave as Alan Gurr goes round at turn 4, comes racing from the back of the car, sloshes up to your feet, because the cars just aren't sealed like a road car. And then when you accelerate, the water all disappears again. Here it is again in replay. He was out of the slippery stuff, and when he turned the car in, the rear was gone. And drivers complaining about overlapping at the restart there as well. So there's going to be some issues, no doubt, that race control looks at that. This is the restart. And a problem in the background here as Kando arrows off, and this will create another safety car scenario. He's buried deep down there, and Steve Owen also off, but back on the road. Holdsworth's done his CPS. Here's the replay. Look towards the rear of the picture, and Kando arrives backwards at turn 1 at 200 kilometres an hour.
That started way back on the entry into turn 1.
And a graphic example of the trap doing its job there. Now, one thing for us to clarify here as Dean Kando tries to figure out how he's not going to get dirty race boots or drive in these wet conditions. They lowered at 9 turns. That's a lot.
Here's a fight between Scaife and Murphy, and Scaife goes off and around.
And this will be another safety car, believe it or not.
Incredible.
Safety car boards and flags, safety car.
He's had a go, he's grabbed reverse. He's not going to move it.
Another restart, another incident, and Alan Gurr has all sorts of dramas at the front of the Irwin Tools entry car number 26. Look at the fluid pouring out of that. Scaife deep buried.
There is a car across the middle of the track somewhere.
They just can't get back into a rhythm, so they came across the bridge, and Scaife and Murphy are arguing, and by now they try and turn in. Crunch. You watch it keep going there. Scaife tried to hold on, and it flicks him over to the other side of the circuit. Buried him before he hit the tyre wall. That was the impact. And just so muddy and slippery on the inside there, he was no hope of saving it. Here's a bit of push and shove between Russell Ingall and John Bowe. And this is what happened to Alan Gurr in the middle of all that. Oh, so there was contact with Max Wilson. Just bizarre.
And because there's variations of the go-kart track and the motorcycle track here, they shoot off in every direction, just like Mark Scape's doing here after the contact with Greg Murphy at Winton, or should I say the HRT cars were not good at Winton in that respect either. And it's not Shane Price, I'm sorry. Jack's been on the radio howling, so I thought it was him, but Shane pointing the wrong way at the final corner.
Oh, he's gone. See you, Shane.
Got spun around.
Sitting in a very precarious position at the top of the rise at turn 11, so he went the other way to get back on. Smart thinking by the youngster.
And off on the outside at turn 3, was that Van Gisbergen?
He kept it going, he put it through the grass.
I saw him running wide down there. It didn't look like he was going to pull it up, and he just fired straight off, crossed the top of the gravel. Now he's having a little bit of trouble grabbing reverse. Got it sorted now and underway. So
there's some issues involving Jamie Whincup's car.
Yeah, there sure is, and you may have seen him storm as well up to the Avesco officials, asking the question, why isn't Jamie getting the help of the blue flags with lap traffic? They believe he's being held up. Of course, the ruling was from Avesco that they have to wait for one completed lap.
Here's the Team Kiwi car and Shane Price, wheel on wheel. And that's what happened to Shane. Oh, so he got a crunch, so that was Jamie.
That's the reason why.
There you go. He just saved Grant Denyer a run up pit lane. So that was the crunch, and then Shane Van Gisbergen, I think at that stage, Neil, he knew it was gone, so he just kept pushing to try and find the grass.
Yeah, sometimes the worst thing you can do is actually slow down. Russell Ingall's in this as well. That bonnet is so deformed, and Winterbottom's off at turn 8, I think this is, and that will be a safety car.
Well, this is interesting, Neil, because we do have a time certain finish, remember, and it's not too far away, but there's only a handful of laps left. Back we go under yellow flags.
Look for it on the right-hand side here. This is turn 8. There he is. Here it is again in replay. What happened? Did it on his own.
He's just slid all the way in there and backed it into the wall. We could well be finishing this race.
What Lowndes is trying to do, of course, is get himself unlapped. We're running out of time here, but if he was unlapped and there was another safety car to get him back in touch, Murphy around with Whincup. Whincup, has he saved it? Yes, just. Ingall's gone to the motorcycle road on the right, so is Jason Richards. It's chaos.
And carnage. They can't help themselves, and off they go again. Stephen Johnson. Smashed into the back. There's smoke billowing out of another car. And that was one of the super cheap cars. He's pulled off. That is Cameron McConville. He got crunched front and rear and side.
Actually, I have to say, for supposedly the best 30 blokes in the country, there's a few of them out there who need a slap around.
An eventful day, a remarkable day. This was the story of the day. They could not stop bashing into each other. Somehow Jason Richards and Russell Ingall found an exit route. But even when they got back on, it was back on.
There'll be more to all this. I think you'll find that the IPO will have to investigate some of these things post-race. So,
rear right wheel. Stephen Johnson, by the way, lost 6 spots in that one lap. This may unfold for us what happened. Yes, there'll be a crunch, 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 crunch.
Okay, coming in, eh?
Yeah,
Morris cops the worst of it.
He was just unfortunate there, making sure they've got radio comms with him.
You must be able to hear me. Just check your fuel pump switches.
Jason Bright off the road.
Big moment for Jason Bright in the Fujitsu entry.
And damage.
And deep into the sand. Hasn't been behind the wheel long. Adam Macro did the first stint. So the man who won it here in 2006 with Mark Winterbottom. And this is the reason why. You can just see him on the Zinger replay. He exits pit lane. So now the trouble starts to come. Whoop! And off he goes. And that is carrying a lot of speed deep, deep, deep. The end of turn 1. Adam, that must really hurt. You just got out of that car.
Focus on the exit, be smooth on the throttle.
This is the Team Kiwi car. John McIntyre behind the wheel.
And we had issues before we went to the break for Jason Richards, who now has a look up the inside. Watch this. in replay and you'll see what happened here. And he gets out in the grey where there's no grip, surfs the edge of the sand pit, gets back on, fortunately, probably with no damage done, but picked up a little gravel in the radiator intake, and that's Jason Richards off as well. Prior to that, at turns 9 and 10, Stevie Richards had a bit of a moment with Nathan Pretty as well, tried to put a move on him, got up on the curb. Here's the other angle. All that gravel that just went into the radiator and into the front brake ducts is not good news. It'll feed through the hubs.
Sitting in 11th.
Another move.
Oh, and more contact. Nathan Pretty is being swamped, muscle, push, shoved. James Courtney was in on it. Russell Ingle.
Stay calm, take a few deep breaths, mate.
Jason Bargwanna in 8th.
Look more front locking for
Bargwanna's seen it time and time again. Now gives him a little nudge to say, I'm here.
and it's gone flat. It's gone flat.
All right, guys, we've got this is VL7. What's going on James's car, the 4 car. Get ready.
There you go. And in the end, Bargwanna ended up having to go off-road as well.
You need to stay in, but if you can't go on, that's your choice.
So he ended up getting contact on the way back as well, Bargwanna, and had to cut the corner there to jump back on.
Oh,
no.
Oh.
Trouble for both of them, Lowndes and Murphy. They're forced to scoot along the grass to get back onto the track.
It's all going to happen again. You've got to be very, very careful here. If you fire your shot too early, and here's the reason why Holdsworth went round. He was lucky he didn't get drilled by a couple of blokes.
Yeah, Russell was in there as well. And
Team Kiwi Cup.
Lights flash. You could see something was going to go astray, and it did so for Todd Kelly. He was so aggressive.
Get the other boys to step around the rest of the car.
Amazing, isn't it? What about the damage that it's created? What about the impact here on the top of the mountain? So whack, that's all it took.
There you go.
All it took. Rick Kelly, Craig Lowndes, Stephen Johnson, James Courtney. Zinger replay at turn 2. Contact, contact. Fabian Coulthard into the wall.
And race controls just asked for officials to observe the back of that car and just see how much damage there is to the bodywork. Little contact there with Glenn Seaton. Just tipped it up into the wall. That's the problem when you've got a quick car and you're battling away through the back of the field, sometimes very awkward. This changes the sequence for them in a big way. There's something hanging down under that car. Here's what happened. Lowndes got very close to the back of Kelly as they approached the chase at 300 Ks. And when you're that close, it destabilises the car in front. And it's had a bit of a shake. He couldn't grab it. He's got onto the bumpy stuff. And then out there, it's dirty.
Oh, here comes Lowndes. Whoa!
And he missed him, obviously. So, amazing off. Here it is from the other angle. Lowndes was really hustling. And it just ran wide of the apex, and once you're onto that grubby stuff, and I reckon the tyres, it might have, you know what, there's enough tyre debris there. I reckon the tyres let go in the middle of the corner.
Yep, you can see it start flinging off. And watch this, just watch the left-hand side. You saw it there go.
And remember, earlier in the race, we saw him lock the front left up at the top of the hill. This was a very, very lucky situation for Rick Kelly, because had that been a little bit different angle, the thing would have rolled over, or he could have been T-boned by Craig Lowndes.
This is the view out the rear of Rick Kelly's car when it let go. Right there, the fastest point of the circuit.
And listen to it, you hear the tyre flailing on the inner guard and leapt across the road. And Rick just takes a deep breath and fires up for a marshal point. He needs to get out of that thing in a hurry. And I don't know where the nearest fire marshal might be, but the safety car will be deployed here. So this was a great run from Andrew to that point. Here they are. And he was in 10th position and pressuring Craig Baird in car 16. Great disappointment for Team BOC. Tough weekend.
Andrew was doing a great job. We got word that he had trouble at the top of the mountain, so he's nursed it all the way down. And take a look.
That's a massive amount of fuel, as in petrol, powering this. And I reckon that an injector's jumped out or a rail's broken or something, and it's just ignited, and it's just heaving fuel in there.
By now, it's really got hold.
And he won't be able to see. Look inside the car, just choked with smoke. He's gone down the left-hand side, tried to find a marshalling point.
Ripped through the paintwork on the front of the car. It's still going.
Yeah.
We might split the ice.
Here's an incident for car 11, Marcus Marshall and Kane Scott. Marshall has found the wall. And that is up at the cutting, so he's facing the wrong way. Jack Daniels' car has been spun around. Remember, not too long ago, Tander and Co said, we need a safety car.
Safety car, Shane, safety car.
They've got it. And this will show us exactly what's happened to car 11. At the cutting, backs into it, glass everywhere.
Check your brake pedal. Bring the rear bar back up to full step.
Marcus Marshall.
Sorry. It could restart.
Same spot as where Stephen Johnson went awry before the top 10 shootout.
A few years ago, his boss Larry Perkins found the wall up there too. They may take advantage of this safety car, and that compresses the lead that Lowndes had. Here's the reason for the problem. Someone shot straight ahead, Toll HSV car, and it is car number 1 with all the brake drama. No, does he pop out the other side? He does. Somebody else is down on their luck though, because they've got a problem, and that's triggered the safety car.
Oh,
here it is.
It's Noski and Verdnick stuck in the sand at the same spot.
There's more rubber. Here we go. Here's this replay. Just watch the left-hand side of this car and see whether, in fact, we were right. I thought that's what I saw. So did that shift anything?
Well, that's the kind of impact that put the Watts linkage out of car 021. Ross and Jimmy Stone watching on, and we've got...
There's trouble up here.
Yep.
Someone's had big wall contact, and it's car number 33 in the wall at the top, and this will trigger a safety car, I'd imagine. And I reckon looked for car number 2 to come straight into the pits for fuel. Now, having said that, that could blow their strategy.
Dean Canto is behind the wheel of this car. All this was triggered because of car 33. You're on board with Dean Canto at the top of the mountain. Wow.
He hit the wall on the left.
Oh.
He hit the wall on the left and then cannoned into the wall on the right side at Reed.
That was the view from Jason Richards. This will be the view at the end of all that. So the impact goes much further back. By now, it's just a matter of the dirt and Co stopping the car.
A little bit earlier. Here it is again in replay. Look up. There he is, whack. He just picked up the wall right at the very end of the exit there, and it immediately fired the car to the right side of the road.
This will be the deciding moment for Jamie Whincup. In he comes.
Oh, he's had a moment. He's in the gravel. No! A massive moment there. A race-changing moment for Jamie Whincup.
Somehow he managed to pull it back.
Jamie, I've got you. Watch your pit speed, 10% throttle.
Just pushed the limit a little bit too far, run off the track. Looks like we're still second, of course, so not good, but relatively happy with my stint apart from that.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks.
How on earth did Jamie Whincup salvage this situation? Because it goes bad here, it gets awful about here. Almost now he's back on the track, and he manages to pull it together with the aid of a bit of grass, flicks it right, and gets back in under control.
The grip's reducing up there.
He has a 28-second lead over Mark Winterbottom, and more problems for car 67. At the cutting, that's Paul Morris in a very dangerous position.
Hard to turn the car round there. He'll have to have faith in the marshals. Race director Tim Schenk and Steve Priest to his right. And there is a safety car. Stone cold tyres though, others have got residual heat.
This is what happened to Paul Morris right at the cutting from side to side.
Such is the slippery condition at the top that it trapped Paul Morris on the run up to the cutting. Couldn't pull it up. Locked the rears and whack into the wall here.
Team Sirame cars have had their troubles. That was the celebration. Johnson goes deep, really deep into the chase. He gets that spot off Jason Bright. Oh, something's gone off in our race leader.
Race leader, Winterbottom off the road, drops a spot.
That puts Craig Lowndes in the race lead. They all go firing past Mark Winterbottom. And the Dick Johnson Racing team were winners out of that as well. Stephen Johnson now comes around and muscles Bright out of the way for second place. Murphy wants a piece of it. Courtney's in the battle as well. What a fascinating finish to this race. 13 laps to go. Our leader, car 888, the defending champion, Craig Lowndes. The DJR crew have pieced it all back together and they've fought their way back into spot, and now Winterbottom still sliding around. Contact with James Courtney.
He's down in 12th and he's got huge traffic problems to deal with, but Scaife was massively quicker than everybody on that lap. And he's in the trade.
We waited and waited and waited for this race to explode. And now it has. It's all opened up and Bright into the wall big time. That was a huge impact. He's managed to bounce back, but his day's done. He is out of the picture. So is Russell Ingall.
And one of the HRT cars there, Ingall off at McPhillamy. I think that could have been Mark Scaife in too. I'll confirm it for you. It's diabolical up there. You've got to pay Marks for having a go, but Cole Tyres have cruelled the day for this bloke and his teammate Adam Macro.
They were so close.
Okay, mate, there's a safety car out. We need to get you into pit lane as soon as possible.
I just saw him shoot off to the left of our screen and went wham into the side of the wall.
Watch the leader, huge moment through the chase. 300 kilometres an hour, surfs out the other side, almost rolls the Castrol forward, gathers it up, drops a bunch of spots. The race has gone off.
And not for the first time, Craig Lowndes had to take evasive action at the end of the chase. This was his view of it. Look at Winterbottom goes off. By now, he is soaring through the air and somehow staying on the ground at the end of it. He'll come into picture again. Wham! That is out of control.
How's your heart rate?
A little bit lower, I reckon, than Mark Winterbottom's. That was the race lead. Going down, he caught the edge there. Oh, man, that's scary. That is really scary, and so is this.
Second time that Lowndes has been involved in something like that today.
This will unfold for car 25 up the top here. You'll see it. Oh, they both went in. So to have something on the track there, and then Scaife as well, they all go in at exactly the same spot. Sparks fly.
See the wheel light up against the concrete.
The impact was already taken care of there by the Fujitsu car.
Ingall, Scaife and Bright, massive experience and knowledge there, and all caught by the conditions.
Watch this. You'll lose it here. Slam. Another car's already gone off in front of him into the wall. I reckon that might be Winterbottom. Or maybe Owen Kelly in the picture. No, he's not.
I reckon it was Johnson. I think it was the Jim Beam car.
So Mark Scaife's day is over. Here's another angle. That impact. 1, 2, 3. 4 of them find the wall there. Perhaps it was Mark Winterbottom, who'd already got a touch up along the side as well in front of Jason Bright. And we've got a car in the wall. And that is in a very bad situation because that's right at the end of the last turn.
Will they deploy safety car? Shane Van Gisbergen rotates it here. He went off there earlier in the weekend as well. Now eclipsed by Jason Bright, who's down in 19th. Remember, he said to me earlier in the day, we've got a fast car. We need to be able to use it. Oop, trouble here. Van Gisbergen and Bow. Winterbottom mixed in there as well, and it was Bow that ended up turning around and recovering at turn 3. Looking from the other angle now. And I think John Bow's going to be pretty hot under the collar about that one.
Alan Gurr in the Irwin Tools car. And here's some problems for Stephen Richards in pit lane, and I think he's hit the wall. He has.
Quite an extraordinary situation. Hard on the anchors, and they come from quite a big terminal speed. Lock the rears, turn the car hard right into the cement wall. The right front is damaged.
So this is on the entry into pit lane. So what's he done? He's just come in too hard, locked it up, and actually hit the gate there.
Yeah. This man's the corrected leader of the race. Garth is down in 9th. Let's see if this picture tells the story, and you'll see he whacks the wall, turn 4 onto the back straight, not only a little bit, but a lot, and that has broken the rear suspension in the car. Winterbottom's been talking about some brake issues. There are certainly some cars in the field this weekend that are using, trouble here for Paul Dumbrell. Nearly clobbered that turn 8 wall, and that's been a popular wall to hit in the over the years. Just, I'd say, probably blindsided a little bit and then got on the dirty part of the racetrack, and when you go offline here, it's absolutely no grip. Pretty nice recovery in many respects. What is it, 15 odd rows away at the start, and it's so very hard to recover in a quality field like this one, and Gurr has just so it's just eased up a little, the gap between these two guys at the moment. What have we got happening here? This is turn 12, and Bargwanna, Bright and Richo all getting into each other as a result of their close battle. Here it is again from the other angle. All of a sudden, Brighty has to back up, and Stephen Richards gets a whack on the snout for his trouble, and probably makes a spot here by the look of it. Yeah, the car doesn't look too fine though. He launched across the curbing up onto 2 wheels, and the car flew, and he couldn't get it back down again, and it flew up into the wall. Bang, there it is. So huge damage, and that was after all that other aggravation the previous lap. See how the car just flew up in the air there, then it slid. Old Richo, that's a tyre that's come off a tyre bundle there. Stevie was lucky to survive all that. Here's the other angle.
He goes in so deep, and he ends up, you can see Stephen Richards lock it, try and avoid it. He ended up copping one of those tyres for his trouble as well. It has 11 points next to his name. Seeing a replay of Todd Kelly. That's what happened to him. That's spelled the end of his race in the end.
How did Russell pull all that off? That was a great scrap between those two.
Oh, that's how Winterbottom's day ended. Can you believe it? A tangle with Scaife. They were nudging each other along for quite a while.
Yeah, Scaife ended up wide here on the dirty line. Waxed the wall. It was when he ricocheted, he got the FPR car. So he's bounced off the wall and tagged him in the left rear. And Winterbottom's gone round. Gee, how's this weekend gone from fantastic to rotten for FPR?
Unfortunately, he's bounced off the wall, so I don't reckon they'll do anything about it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
That is just so cruel for both of them.
He just got instant bite and just disappeared down the road. Fantastic start. Trouble back in the mid-pack here. And it's one of the Jim Beam cars, and I think with one of the Gary Rogers Motorsport entries. And so far, everybody else surviving. That one, Dean Canto, it was in car number 34.
And Stephen Johnson.
Jamie Whincup to second, Russell Ingle to third, then Craig Lowndes, James Courtney. Rick Kelly quietly achieved yesterday. More trouble. Alan Gurr backing up here into turn 3, arriving sideways. Someone getting stuck into him along the way, and very fortunate not to end up rubbing down one of those concrete walls. Gets away with it.
That midfield, probably there was a bit of contact, and here Dean Canto almost found himself.
Well, both the Jim Beam cars were wrapped up in that one. It's a little bit hard to see who did what to who, because 3 into 1 definitely does not go at the turn 1 chicane. Sorry, the turn 2 chicane, and it's typical of the sort of incident we see down there. Let's have a look at this one from the other angle here. You'll see Alan Gurr arrives pointing in the wrong direction. One of the Team BOC cars was involved in that. He actually did make contact with the wall. I didn't realise that he'd given it a rub. Oh, trouble here for Will Davison, tagging the wall. I think that's at turn 8, the northernmost point of the racetrack. He's locked the rear brakes just at the turning point with Winterbottom behind him. In fact, the driver that I just spoke of, who'll get a mechanical black flag this time through. Jamie Whincup, second.
150.167. This will explain it. Down to the Falcon Tyres turn. Big slide from Lowndes. Just missed the tyre barrier. May have got it just on reverse.
Gee, that was costly. Just couldn't get it in at 8. And this is what we picked up earlier, and we're very puzzled by it. He was very lucky not to get clobbered here. Tyre conditions also down, so that's great speed. This is Craig Lowndes on Jason Richards. We're looking at 6th and 5th. Oh, and we're looking at a mistake for Lowndes. And if I'm honest,
what happened to Lowndes around at turn 5 and 6. He shot through the grass, got a little bit unstuck, and then
it doesn't look like it was too solid. Behind him is Will Davison, and he's going to get a run on here. He could round him up. It's been done here before at turn 5. No, not this time.
Kind of see it coming. So Paul allows Jamie Whincup to go on through. This is more aggro between Mark Winterbottom and Will Davison.
That was the previous lap.
As they come through turns 2. We'll see Todd Kelly on the Zinger replay getting wide at turn 4, and the victim is Owen Kelly. Team Sirame car.
Not sure, it might be Paul Morris. Can't pick up the number too clearly there.
Oh, there's some contact in the back. Todd Kelly gets T-boned in the end by John Bow, but that was just the finish of it. That's down at turn 9.
The passenger's door looks a bit second-hand there. Massive damage. In fact, that'll be...
straight back in now.
Whincup comes out in front, so this goes back to our incident involving Todd Kelly, is it? Is that the one that... Yeah, that's where it all happened with the TKR car. And at the end of all that, so Shane Van Gisbergen has hit the wall. John Bow's got nowhere to go. Todd Kelly gets squeezed in with Craig Lowndes. Kelly will now spin around, and JB has nowhere to go either, but straight into him.
Now it begins to make sense. I couldn't unravel that one in my mind. There were cars going every which way, and it was bizarre. Watch Russell Ingall. I reckon. Oh, he got a tap, and then I reckon he might have missed a gear. Well, it might have even just been the tap, you know. And that was the reason why all of a sudden he lost momentum. So that's exiting turn 4.
And Shane Price getting a spin around 2 with Steve Owen just shooting on by.
And then ultimately Jamie was able to go back, but he did clobber the wall on the exit here. Right there. Bang, left rear. And if you hit that hard enough, as we've seen a couple of times in the recent past, you can break that Watts link bolt in the rear suspension. That was a pretty big hit, that one.
Here we go.
Team owner Brad Jones has just about had enough in the last couple of race meetings with the amount of damage to his cars.
Lots and lots of damage. Good flat-out racing. It's not done with yet. Bargwanna, Courtney, Whincup. Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? Bargwanna's the big loser out of it. He had to control it really, really tough.
This is going to be bad.
Still going, and Whincup spins, gets hit by Canto.
It's all bad from about 10 seconds ago. You can smell that coming. Roland Dane's not going to be thrilled watching these pictures. And he's trying to make an opportunity, of course.
So it starts here at turn 3. Everybody's a little bit loose by now. A shove into turn 4, a spin. Yet again, Craig Lowndes has managed to escape all the disaster zone. So it's all over the shop by here.
Dean Canto it was, I think, that actually made the contact with Jamie in the end.
Well, Canto also made contact with the Jim Beam car of Steve Johnson as well.
And Steve Johnson's car's got a broken Watts link in the rear suspension, so they'll have to bring the... Wow. Look at all this chaos.
So Dean Canto got all sorts of mess, and now his front guard gets collected on the way through by Rick Kelly. It's hanging all over the place.
That's what you call loose body work.
Yeah. Johnson in third. Lock up. Did they get through it? Well, some of them had to run wide, really wide. One of the Tasman Motorsport cars has gone off. Paul Morris in big trouble with the Vodafone cars.
Both the Vodafone. Massive impact there for Lowndes. Massive impact. Involved Jamie Whincup as well, and Paul Morris. That was on the exit of turn 5. Run up to turn 4. So this is where some of the stuff had already begun. And you'll see here that there are people running well wide. Look at Whincup, he's way out wide. It's 3 cars wide. Morris actually gets shoved right off the road there. He's right out on that AstroTurf. And then it'll be as he came back on to the racetrack where all that unfolded. So he's coming back from the extreme left-hand side, and then they interlock. And then Jamie's gone hard left to avoid. He brushed the wall. Craig actually crunched into it. So Morris was off the road, fully to the left from a hip and shoulder earlier on. That's what started.
Right there where he rejoined as well is where he interlocks the wheels. Assisted by that dip, I reckon, for certain. Enough to unsettle the car, but he...
On board here with Max Wilson. So one of the Rogers cars is out in the boonies there. Now turn 4, right-hander. And you'll see that's a glimpse of Morris and both Vodafone cars. Look, Morris is completely off the road, so he'd been pushed at that point. But you'd never know. It's hard to figure out who the black hat was on the inside. Somebody would have shoved them out there.
Zinger replay on board Stephen Richards at turn 1. Crunch into Lee Holdsworth. Out of my way.
Yeah, that was because for some reason they'd all backed up in front.
That's ominous signs. He was really comfy, and big contact for Jamie Whincup. He's been clipped by Max Wilson, already in trouble. He's got damage both sides of the rear. Let's go through the order as they cross Winterbottom. 1.6 second lead.
Contact in the main straight, Shane Price and Dean Canto, and Canto massively crossed up in the middle of the straight.
And look at the lockup as a result. Here's
unbelievable!
Contact.
This whole HSV two cars taking each other out. Unbelievable!
Extraordinary action.
Gee, that will not go down well in the HSV garage when you've got an advantage like that over your championship rivals.
Bloody gear cup's not working. And we're in trouble here, fellas.
Yeah, so the shift cut. Oh, more trouble here for Rick Kelly. Round he goes.
That was a touch with Mark Scaife. They were side by side.
Can't keep up with this. The shift cut's not working on Garth
Settle
Tander's
it down,
car.
mate. Settle it down.
No such thing as a sure bet in this business, and just goes to prove that it is possible to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
John Bow chucked it on the transporters, came over here, had trouble off the trucks early on, and now they've continued the battle on the track. The Zinger replay showed the initial contact between Andrew Jones and Jamie Whincup. Now Whincup will end up spinning out here towards turn 4, and you'll see that Max Wilson, if we go deep, so that was the contact that spun him around with Lee Holdsworth, and then Max Wilson will come flying around while Jamie Whincup sitting horizontal to the track, and he collected, bam, just there.
You might get pinged for a dangerous re-entry on that one, but as if things aren't bad enough already.
Oh dear.
Mind you, you cannot see out the back of the cars at all, so I mean it's literally dead reckoning there when you decide to move the car. Now what about this one? Rick Kelly down the inside on Garth Tander, and he's a long way down there, but GT turns in, and that will raise the blood pressure in that garage, and of course there's all sorts of chaos as a result of that. Here it is again from Rick's viewpoint. He thought he was far enough up, and then of course the gap narrows. Oh dear me. And consider the advantage the two of them had over both the 888 cars at that point. Car number 88 is going to get a black flag for the dangerous re-entry back onto the circuit, so Jamie Whincup will tour the pit lane, further adding injury to their weekend.
I was also wondering where the damage came from James Courtney's car. You can see it right there. He ended up crunching into the rear of Stephen Johnson, nowhere to go.
And this one was the contact between Scaife and Rick Kelly, and around they both go.
I don't reckon I've heard as much counselling over the radio in the first few laps.
No, I tell you what, there's big potential for civil war to break out with the HSV cars and the HRT cars making contact, let alone both HSV cars running into each other. Double contact for Rick Kelly, slow stop for Garth Tander, problem with the shift cut. That's the mechanism that allows him to used the flat shifting mechanism in the gearbox, and there's the incident earlier that damaged the back of John Bow's car that required the mechanical black flag to fix it, bring him in and fix it. And they're also looking at car number 22. There's a loose mirror on Todd Kelly's car.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. There you go. Will Davison turns it into turn 1. Courtney's coming out, exiting pit lane.
And a little bit of contact between the brothers Kelly here. Both Todd and Rick were banging doors down at turn 1. So, speaking of banging doors, this time Paul Morris on Todd Kelly. So I think it's fair to say, if I think this through, that all the cars from Clayton have managed to run into each other today. Let's have a look here again. This is Rick on his brother Todd.
That's where he lost the driver's side mirror, and then Paul Morris comes into the picture, goes, bam!
Tags the right rear.
Smoke billowing out of Paul Morris, and Scaife goes in there facing the wrong way.
And Morris's car also had a huge front lock up there, front left, I think it was.
I think that's the result of that.
Oh, is it?
That's still the
it's
result
just
of
the
that
contact on the guard. And I think Todd Kelly was also complaining about more contact with Paul Morris. Oh, here we go. The pictures will tell the story here. So same corner, turn 4. Pit lane for that drive through. I think Alan did that all on his own, grabbed the brake then in the middle of the corner just to try and bring it under control, and now all the action begins. Win cut.
He's down to the rim by about now. So a bit of shove with Max Wilson, a bit more than a shove. Thank you very much. Ouch. That's down to turn 1.
He's going to have to go through the pit lane. That's big news. And as we watch more of the chaos here, it's Kelly and Paul Morris, and it's a bit of push and shove. And between those guys at the moment, it's getting ugly. Here it is again.
Missed each other this weekend, put it that way.
16 remaining. But as you can see, Courtney in front, Winterbottom behind.
Oh, some trouble here between Steve Owen and Mark Scaife. It's been a horror weekend for both the Holden Racing Team entries, and did Mark do that on his own? Then I think Steve Owen may have just been dragged into it. Not sure. It was just a guess on my part. But when you see somebody go through the grass down there, you almost bet that they pick up that tyre bundle and drag it onto the racetrack. Here it all is again in replay. And Bauer got into the back of Ingle, who was getting into the back of Canto. Canto was in the grass at that stage and doing the railway shunting of the tyre bundle onto the track with the dirt with it. Look at this. This is critical. There's the tyre bundle I made mention of, and he comes out behind Jamie. Oh, and off the road, Lee Holdsworth, and picks up a heap of dirt in the process. And he'll have to leap that curb, which happened to him in qualifying right there, and it's a big one. Jason Bright looking for space down the inside at the hairpin, and resulting in a little bit of contact here. And that's Owen Kelly just managing to save the day. Nice bit of speedway driving there, a bit of opposite lock, a bit of sprint car action.
Or is it Shane Price? We'll find out soon enough. It'll be Shane Price. That's who it was, car 7. So correction on that. Shane Price didn't get the wall. He just got nudged out of the way and stuck on the outside as James Courtney did most of the infringing there.
And safety car has been deployed. I think Cameron Rumble might have a problem. Yes, I just heard him on the radio. Big damage on the front of his car and all down the right-hand side.
Manoeuvre and just decide to stick me into the fence on the way out for the hell of it.
It's all happened at turn 8 in the final corner. There's a lot of dirt and debris on the road. Cam is not happy about whatever's happened there. Massive amount of damage on the right-hand side of that car.
He is absolutely furious. I don't think I've ever seen him like that. I mean, he is absolutely peaking. And this is why. Got completely muscled out of the way. Heavy impact into the wall and dust flying everywhere.
I think Steve Owen was the other car, and he was actually squeezed up on the curbing and then bounced once Cam's off on the dirty line. That's a big impact, and actually it's a reminder of how dangerous that pit wall can be down there. He is not happy. It's just been such a frustrating season for him. And it's going to require, as I said at the beginning of the race, a little shift in mindset here for Garth Tander. Trouble here for Todd Kelly, contact with Greg Murphy, who was animated on the radio a moment ago. And just prior to that, Todd Kelly had been warned to just go a bit easy on the brakes. They were seeing huge temperatures in that car. Out of turn 7, he locks the rear brakes, skates out into the weeds and crosses the gravel. I tell you what, he was seriously lucky to be able to drive out of here. Under normal circumstances, that's not doable. Increased brake pressures and temperatures, tucked in behind another car, a little unforced error, and Tander off the road.
And they're not tiny pebbles down there either.
Probably the biggest downside, apart from, oh, here we go again, Ingle, Dumbrell, it's gone on, and Tander, I think, was the one that made the gain there out of all that. Maybe some debris, or was it as a result of a big flat spot on the run into turn 2? Either way, Russell's going to the rear.
Or the push and shove that ended up there. Maybe that was enough to do it.
Could be. Maybe contact, guard rubbing on the tyre, whatever. But he's out of business, and that's going to put him at the very back of the pack.
Releases our championship leader. This is the Team Sirame car and the WPS car coming together of Paul Morris and Jason Bargwanna.
They both kind of helped each other there in a sense. But Bargwanna with a big hole in the left side of the car. Oh, Lowndes. Lowndes is off the road at the hairpin.
That's fine.
So Lowndes, who was running 4th.
Head down. 7 laps to go.
They're all having a bit of trouble down. They see him pumping the brake pedal. So he's pumping up the brake pedal. He's got a brake issue. Hear all the stones, gravel dropping out of the car. Here it is again in replay. Couldn't get it stopped. Locked it all up. Very lucky to be able to get the thing out of the gravel here. Fills it up with gravel in the process. Probably dropped 3 or 4 spots. We'll see on the computer as he crosses the control line. Here it is again from on board. And he's lucky he didn't have to grab reverse and do a 3-point turn here. So Scaife goes by,
put him back
and
in
Rick
6th.
Kelly, so he's back in 6th.
Who's out there 1.3 seconds ahead. You're looking at Scaife and Rick Kelly. Trouble for the Team BOC entry.
Ooh, that's an awkward place to be pointed the wrong way.
You got the leaders coming down on you.
And smart move there to just get the thing out of the way.
Our leader is Jamie Whincup. Stephen Richards is 2nd. This will explain what happened to Shane Price. Greg Murphy had to get out of the way.
So contact down there.
This will be Owen Kelly and Andrew Jones. So that was the beginning of what happened to Andrew Jones. And also we saw Owen Kelly with some trouble. So it all happened right there.
Someone's off the road on the exit of 5. And I think Todd Kelly could have been involved in this one as well. Max Wilson, there's a Team BOC car there. There was a bunch of aggravation, the radios erupted, and Winterbottom's done the fastest lap of the race of 53.3. Andrew Jones crawling back, and damage here on Todd Kelly's car, which confirms that earlier remark of mine that he was involved somewhere in that little drama. So he's got damage on the guard. He got squeezed up on the fence. Nowhere really for Kelly to go there. So I don't think he'll have a case to answer on that one, but damage on that car.
Oh, there's a crunch with Shane Price. It's not a spot you want to be, facing the wrong way. The super cheap auto car of Paul Dumbrell clips Greg Murphy, who does a similar pirouette.
That's twice Murphy's been tagged in 2 races. And here's why. John Bow, Shane Van Gisbergen. So that's brought some gravel up onto the road.
Oldest man in the field, youngest guy in the field. Bargwanna into the wall at 5.
That'll be a safety car. And Alan Gurr
Okay there,
involved.
Barks? Safety car boards and flags. Safety car. Get up the rear and in the fence, but yeah.
All had a unit built today, the boys. When things go wrong, they've got a tongue-in-cheek approach. Oh dear.
We've got to hurry along big time.
Yeah, I think Alan's just locked the brakes there, and after that, there wasn't much anybody could do. But it's ended up. Look how high Jamie was. He was right up at the corner. That's the reason why Tander was battling there, because Jason Richards made contact. I wondered why he dropped back so far, and how close was Whitcup to bowling a wide. Oh, Tander down the inside, side by side. They're all fumbling. This will give Jason Richards a run on Tander and Scaife. Tander's going to drop 3 spots as a result of that. Lowndes goes by as well.
And possibly Courtney.
Still unsafe, bring it in.
Oh, there's damage. There's damage. It's got steering damage on it. He can't steer the car. He's off the road. Oh no, this is bad.
Incredible. The championship leader with major damage to his car is now a passenger, and he's out of race 3.
Rob Crawford. Oh no, more trouble at turn 7.
Involving 4 cars. HRT, Jack Daniels.
I think it's Todd Kelly.
Super Cheap Auto Team, Team
Safety
BOC.
car, mate. Safety car again, safety car.
And there's another car involved in that as well.
Copy, Mark. Keep you cool, buddy.
Owen Kelly's in there.
The crew down there with Gojek to get the car back, please.
Look at this, you're kidding me.
Make sure everyone has helmets on. Helmets.
Stop under the boom, mate, so then we can slide the Gojeks under it to turn it.
Some of the Brightech guys lending a hand there as well. Here it is again in replay.
Here's the first one. So there's contact there at the rear.
That's where the steering damage was done, though. And then the second one.
And by now he's out of it.
See the left front wheel, it's already got a pile of steering angle on it. And how he didn't end up nailing half the field down here is an absolute miracle. I just held my breath. I really seriously thought there was going to be a monstrous crash down there, and it would not be a good thing for him to T-bone someone in that manner. I mean, fortunately, this is all horrible news for his championship, but he's got through there without being hurt or hurting others.
Just leave it there in a safe position and...
Look at this. This is a psycho moment.
Shades of his teammate at Bathurst.
He was on the radio talking, and that's when all of a sudden he abruptly stopped. He knew he was in trouble.
So this will unfold the other incident. Shane Price goes through. Now he gets a little bit of contact with, that's Marcus Marshall.
Between the traffic at turn 7 is nothing short of a miracle. This is
the other incident involving
the other
Todd
incident
Kelly.
of all the nonsense where there was a bunch of cars stuck, interlocked down at turn 7.
And that's James Courtney's troubles.
Yeah, he was sandwiched in there between Mark Winterbottom and Stephen Richards, and one of the toll cars is off the road. I think it's Rick Kelly. So the race leader has gone off at turn 4.
He has. Rick Kelly rejoins some 6 or 7 places down. There he is, finds himself alongside Mark Winterbottom, behind Winterbottom. This will explain it, a lock up at turn 4. Kelly goes off on the grass. Scaife and Whincup. Todd Kelly, title leader, Jamie Whincup, is second. It's damage down at turn 8 for Max Wilson and Morris.
No response from Craig Lowndes.
Oh, push and shove. Lowndes and Todd Kelly.
Get your head down, get away.
Here it is again on replay. And then there's heavy contact coming out the other side of the corner. Very heavy contact. I think Craig's hands actually came off the wheel. There's a big slice out of the HRT car. Here it is again from another view. I think they've interlocked wheels. Very weird. I reckon that actually yanked the wheel to the right for Lowndes. Somebody's gone off in a big way.
You can hear it. Deep, deep, deep. That must be Jason Richards. It is. After such a great performance in this race, he slots out of the top 3.
Look at this. Serious moment down at turn 1. I wondered what was going on there. That is out of control. Oh, somebody else off at turn 1.
Jason Richards. So deep.
See, there'd be an extra, could be an extra 30-odd kilometres an hour of breeze down there at the moment. It'd be a good 15 knot or more wind. Oh, serious, ugly re-entry there, that one. She's a motocrosser. Turn 4 was enough to put him out of shape.
That's what happened to Paul Dumbrell on the second replay. Not only is that just a horrible sound for Paul in the cockpit, but also he had another one on the way out, but he also dragged down turn 5. There was a lot of pebbles and stones and junk back onto the track. And you think at this stage of the season, as Greg Murphy goes spinning off.
To the exit of...
all these races, this will explain what happened to Greg Murphy. So it's coming out of turn 4 into effectively turn 4A. And then he ended up in the middle of nowhere.
If Todd didn't stay where he was and Garth Tander yields to Craig Lowndes, Jamie Whincup is the champion.
Argy-bargy for the Jack Daniels car of Shane Price and Stephen Johnson. Advantage Junior. Started way back there, eh?
I spoke to Larry in the garage before this race, and he was hoping just to get through the remainder of the weekend.